How does it feel to go all in? A forest is the closest thing that I can think of that metaphorically describes the struggle that takes place between the end of formal education and the realization of a successful career. For most professions, there is the benefit of defined pathways. The channels of order are established by governors of each profession and checkboxes provided by industry leads or government regulation. It might look something like this. Or this. But unfortunately for the composer, it looks more like this. For composers and most other kinds of artists, there is no set path. There is no list of boxes to check, for every composer's life looks different from the next, and there's no surefire way to arrive at your destination. If you've been following me, you may have seen my previous video in this series entitled Chapter 2, Making the Most of 30 and Beyond. This video is just a little progress check. Up until this year, I've been experimenting with ways to bring awareness to my music and the academic perspectives embedded therein. For about the past 5 years, I've been developing a system to provide music teachers with the ability to introduce their students to music composition and content creators. And each year has brought new learnings related to how best to accomplish this objective. At 33, wouldn't it be nice to have all the answers and a complete understanding of how to chop through this forest? But we all know that nothing worthwhile would be that easy. This year, I finally built my foundation up to a point where I was ready to test the mettle of my system. In the past, I'd done a number of tours here and there, ranging from 3 or 4 days to an entire month, each time returning home to regroup and debrief. But eventually I realized that I can't keep testing forever. After ready and aim comes fire, and in 2017, it's time to rock and roll. So in one broad gesture, I decided to bet the house and let the chips fall where they may, knowing that I did everything I could to make this a success. Leading up to January 12th of 2017, I gave up my home of the past 5 years, sold more than half of everything I owned, packed up whatever I could fit into a suitcase and hit the road. And hit the road I did for 125 days. How does it feel to go all in? Well, I know at least part of it feels like meeting tens of thousands of amazing students across the country and sharing your music with them, the very lifeblood of who you are. It feels like working with some of the most engaged, passionate educators in the country to create awesome experiences for the next generation of music students. It feels like the looming fear that something could go wrong at any time, that there may be some grave miscalculation lurking in the distance, waiting to destroy everything you've been striving for. Like maybe you should have listened to that voice that begs you to seek safety over adventure. But while there's no guarantee that any risk will pan out, I can say that I ended this series of tours on May 20th with immense relief that my record remained intact, never having missed a date for any reason in 5 years of touring. And while there may have been a couple small hiccups, spring 2017 has been a glowing success. I don't expect that I'll be doing the same things in the same ways in even as little as 4 or 5 years, but I can say that I'm enjoying the ride and all that the forest holds within. It has been my utmost pleasure to meet all of the students and teachers and principals, and even those I've met incidentally in my travels. Along the way, I've gotten to see some pretty cool things like the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., the monument to the victims of the Oklahoma City bombing in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, the changing of the guard at Arlington Cemetery in Virginia. In Trenton, New Jersey, I got to meet friends in person that I've only known online. In Annapolis, Maryland, I got to stand in the very place that George Washington stood when he resigned the presidency. I walked Michigan Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, and in Lexington, Kentucky, I embarrassingly learned that there's actually no such thing as bluegrass, just beautiful green grass that sometimes appears slightly bluish if you look at it at the right time of day and the right season. But it's all good, Kentucky. I love the visit. In Wyoming, I rode into cowboy culture, the genesis of the West, and almost got blown to Japan by one of the strongest, most ridiculous snowstorms of my life. I saw and experienced these things and so much more, like the Puget Sound in Seattle, Washington. Alright, welcome to Fairbanks in December. It looks a little overexposed right now, so I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this like I can see it, but we'll do our best. It's 14 degrees and snowing lightly, but it's really pretty. I'm in Arizona at Grand Canyon National Park. Glacier National Park in western Montana. Scottsbluff National Monument in Gering, Nebraska. Mount Rushmore, South Dakota. Kansas City, Missouri. Denver, Colorado. Salt Lake City, Utah. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Cincinnati, Ohio. Charleston, South Carolina. Twin Falls, Idaho. Topeka, Kansas. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Buffalo, Mississippi. Niagara Falls, New York. Portland, Oregon. Portland, Maine. Wilmington, Vermont. Wilmington, Delaware. Erie, Pennsylvania. Charlotte, North Carolina. Indianapolis, Indiana. Rutland, Massachusetts. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Providence, Rhode Island. Lake Cadillac, Michigan. Nashville, Tennessee. Las Vegas, Nevada. Des Moines, Iowa. Huntsville, Alabama. St. Paul, Minnesota. Savannah, Georgia. New Haven, Connecticut. Lake Tahoe, California. Tampa, Florida. How does it feel to go all in? I would love to tell you, but I'm just beginning to find out.